The What's Neat This Week podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Check them out. Their website is ohrtracksupply.com. Thank you very much, Jeff Otto, for your support.
Okay.
There's a lot going on here all at one time. Chris.
Yeah, don't drop it on my bell truck, please.
You got readers' questions, Chris. When I throw
I
it
do
to
have
you.
readers' questions. I'm ready to go.
The sound is good. What did you do today, Daniel? That's all written on here. Okay. How are the lights? I don't even know, but I think we're okay.
Hopefully not too bright on you like the last time.
And we got Dave Davis tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, this is exciting. Dave Davis.
We got the dog barking out in the backyard.
Bolted out
No
there
shit, man. I'm glad you did.
I wasn't.
Phones are off the hook. Furnace is off. We are ready to go with this tonight. Let's launch into it. Somebody give me a countdown, guys, whenever you're ready.
I'll give you a countdown.
The dog is barking outside. We're going to have to ignore it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, December 9th, 2017. This is podcast number 19. And this evening I've got with me Michael Budde, Daniel Coombs, Chris Palomarez, and Dave Davis.
Hello.
Welcome, Dave.
It's been a while.
And at first we want to start out the show that Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply is the sponsor for the What's Neat This Week podcast. He makes these beautiful crossover jigs for creating your own hand-laid turnouts, which you can then lay on your layout. They pop right out of the jig when you're done with them, and they're perfect, so check it out, ohrtracksupply.com. And Jeff also does custom work, so look at his website and contact Jeff through his website.
And those are really smooth, too, aren't they?
Yeah.
And tonight we've got our microphone working this evening. I want to give a shout out to Hal Miller at Kalmbach Publishing. He is the editor of Model Railroader magazine now. I had the opportunity to talk with him on the phone this week and tell him how excited I am for him and wished him the very best of luck in his pursuit with that magazine. He's a really nice guy, and I look forward to maybe having him on the show sometime. It'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
So what do you got going on, Chris, on your end? You're here on TV with us tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of coming right at you from chilly central Illinois. There's been a number of things that I've been kind of checking out this past week. One of them we'll get into a little bit later, being the Wiking control. And it's been something that we've been talking, I'd say, between Ed Richards and John Tyson. They've been coming with some of these radio control cars. And this is one of the first manufacturers that actually shows a working production remote control car.
Nice.
And this is a video that's on DCC Train. We'll cover more of that more in depth when we get to your spot, Mike.
Okay.
So next up.
Who was the guy that we had on the show that had RC cars? Ed Richardson?
John Tyson.
And John Tyson. Each one of those guys made beautiful RC cars that we had on previous What's Neat shows that actually drove by themselves, but they had to actually scratch build and put those together using components. Yeah. And so what you're talking about, Chris, is something that's available now today that you can just buy off the shelf and run on your layout?
Yeah. I mean...
Kind of like the Keyence models.
Like I said, I have this thing all queued up, ready to go. So let's just cut over to it right now.
It's
pretty much, if you go to DCC Train, there is a nice video, and I'll have it playing for you while this clip is running.
That was the Keyence
model
we were buying before.
Yeah, that's what Ed Richardson was working with, Keyence.
Yeah, that was back when.
Exactly. He's actually demonstrating a working bus. And it's pretty wild because there's a controller that's like a two-hand sort of controller with pivoting and rotating little sensors on it. It has blinking blinkers and working headlights and all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool, Chris.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it is really awesome to see. So I'd recommend highly to check it out.
Yeah.
It's on, just do a YouTube search for DCC Train. I'll actually drop the link right here, but have a look at it. They also have a website, wiking.de, and they do cranes. It looks like they just put out a
Mercedes-Benz. So pretty interesting stuff. And this is coming from a German company.
Now, is that the same Wiking? I always called it Wiking that had the HO scale vehicles for so many years?
Yes,
W-I-K-I-N-G?
that would be the one, W-I-K-I-N-G.
Yeah, they've had plastic, mostly European prototypes, but they've had some nice American ones too. But
A lot of stuff.
I'm sure those models will be nice then.
Well, even if
you want to take like the driveline and use that in another vehicle, I mean, it gives you a good launch point. It gives you the formula to make a successful build. So this is revolutionary. This is what we've been wanting.
I know it's something that we've been talking a lot about.
Right.
And it's cool to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it. Daniel, what have you been up to? I heard you saw a passenger train today, a real car, a passenger car?
All right, so today I went up to the Brad C. Joseph dealership up in Belleville, Illinois, off the East 15 route. Apparently the guy is not only a car salesman, but a big-time train nut. I mean, he's got an 89-foot, a real 89-foot Great Northern passenger car observation that was originally at Pennsylvania, painted in Brunswick green, but then they sold it to the Great Northern. But he had a lot of trains running around the dealership because it's Christmas time, and you think, what better way to decorate the tree than have a train running around? But this guy, oh my gosh! So there was a big G-scale club, the Gateway Garden Road Club there. I knew a guy from church who was a part of that club. He had a tin plate running around a tree, and he also had a line O gauge. He had Z-scale layouts, 2 of them, and then he had tours of that passenger car. And now that side of the dealership, it's totally like you're in an old platform.
Okay.
With the brick floors and make it feel like you're getting onto a train when you enter through that car.
And he's got it all enclosed
and
with
you know
glass.
what? He's got so much models
That's
and
nice.
displays and big
Brad Joseph is a nice guy.
Yeah,
I
he
used to be in
always has
NMRA
been
with
a
him when
nice
I was
person.
20,
Right.
30
His dad,
years
too.
ago. He was always around.
And they were railroad modelers.
Hats off to those guys for helping to support the
Absolutely.
hobby and celebrating the holiday season there at the car dealership. I think, what is the name of the dealership? Isn't it-
Oliver C. Joseph.
Right.
They're
That's right.
Jeep,
And-
Chrysler, Dodge, and
That's nice. That's
he
super
and his,
cool.
He and his dad had a killer layout.
Yeah, they did.
And the nice brass
Destroyed in
stuff
a
to
fire,
go
I
on. They were
believe.
into the consists and everything. I mean, they were railroad modelers.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about first, Mike? You want to talk about cars, or do you want to let Chris talk to Dave about track?
Well, I can talk about these cars. That was one of the comments. I think that somebody wanted more
Yeah,
vehicles.
that was going to be a question we covered.
So I should wait on
Okay,
that.
let's
I'll
wait.
wait on that until
Never
you do
mind.
readers' questions. You want to talk to? Did you want to ask Dave some track questions, Chris?
Well, actually, we were kind of talking about track last episode.
in relation to the ladder system that microengineering came out with. And your name came up, Dave. One of the things that we were kind of looking at, there's number 5 turnouts being used in a ladder, but what's your experience with laying ladders, or have you had any opportunity
to look at switches in a ladder on a layout?
Well, this up-and-coming one will be my first situation with that.
Okay.
Right now, I've just pretty much done a siding, and then another siding, and then actually 3 sidings. One was a granary, one was a warehouse, and then this last one was a Sioux line siding that I did. That was a 10-foot long module. So I haven't done any ladder stuff really where, I needed to cramp something in there to, like the railroads needed these for space. That's the only reason they're jamming them together. Sioux line, right there in Shoreham Yard. The north or the east end of that yard had severe ones where the frog was almost right on very short switch points, and it's neat. And who doesn't need to shorten that spot? So that thing will probably hang on and maybe even get better. Even Pico might even wake up to that.
Yeah.
Have you thought about an approach that you might take to laying a yard ladder? Is there something that you've been kind of cooking up and thinking about, how you'll stab it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm with the Central Valley. I'm going to do a tie strip for it because you can do everything with it. They're making every size, all the hardware's there, everything. It's a flawless setup. I mean, the every component you have is okay for the wheel beatings of a metal wheel. So
Right.
That
Yeah.
and just, you know, the thing that it's all done. All I have to do is just create some space for it. But you can actually, you know, do a lot more customizing than one would think with the Central Valley one, the CVT.
Yeah, those are nice.
And with
Yeah.
the track. And then we were talking about how do you take, you know, it all looks like it's, you know, pretty main line and even the branch line track. And we were talking earlier a couple months ago about, you know, every fifth, sixth tie, you know, raise it up a little bit and, you know, give it some, you know, some irregularities.
There you go.
So
You
I
know,
mean,
one of the things that you and I were talking about, Dave, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to spit this out while it's on my brain. One of the things was kind of blending different track systems together to get that irregularity, you know, combine microengineering, track schedule, chop out a few of the ties, put in the Central Valley ones too, because you know how track is, Dave. I mean, they take pretty much whatever tie that they have over at the, you know, the maintenance away track and load on gondola or even a flat track.
it could be,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
yeah, so there's a lot of irregularities and that stuff, and it's not hard to do. In some of the slides I brought over tonight for you to see, there's 4 different stages of ties, you know, 2 wood and 2 plastic. So I mean, you can take the microengineering ties, you can take the and do something with them, or you can take the Pico, not the Pico, I'm sorry, but the Central Valley, and you know, and maybe even use some of this, some of the Pico.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean,
just for different sizes, like you're saying, you know,
Right.
different sizes and different splits and contours.
yeah.
But as
No,
far
I-
as the lighter
I think-
stuff, yeah, that is coming up, and that's that mile-long module. So she's going to be 60 feet. But they're all need to do exactly what the railroad had to do, and there was some space-saving stuff. And then other stuff was, you know, almost a number 9 switch, you know, for transfer push-ins and these things where you have a string of, you know, 60 cars coming in. And so anyway, I'm coming up to that, and I'm going after the CVT stuff rather than something that's already manufactured.
Okay. Well, maybe we can check back with you as you get closer on that project.
Sure, I guess within a couple months here, something's bound to pop because it's getting slow now for me, and I'm having more time. And,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
I don't have nothing else to report. You want to do readers' questions next, Chris?
Well, actually, before we get to readers' questions, since we were talking about Central Valley, I had something from Tim Rummel, a text message, and he was showing me something that Jeff was working on, a new Pratt truss.
Oh,
And it
the
was
double
looking really
track,
good.
the double track mainline truss bridge.
Yeah, that's it.
I got my
And I'm
email
showing-
loaded up with about 21 photographs from Tim Runnels. I haven't looked at any of them except for one of them. And as soon as I saw that, I knew this is going to be a pretty appreciated product for the modelers out there because it's just
Yeah.
like the single track one that they've recently come out with, but this is double track and it's beautiful.
And
Yeah,
lower com-
It's looking interstellar. He was wondering why I hadn't responded to him yet. I had a number of things that I had to concentrate on and jumped into the podcast. But, you know, maybe he'll see this and I didn't forget about you. This is looking great. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this comes out.
We need to ask Tim or teach him how to Dropbox one file to us with all the photographs in it rather than 21 emails because my cell phone was starting to go ding, ding, ding. I finally put it on airplane mode.
He'll probably get with.
I learned how to do that. I just found out that I can get messages on my cell phone. My daughter informed me I had 55 messages. They go back to February, so if I haven't returned your phone call, I just figured out that I know. The older I get, the dumber I'm getting.
Welcome to the 19th
I'm going
century,
to edit that right out. I'm not going to let you hear that. I've been working really hard on the
Ken, I
sawmill
think you're
project
still
over
lost
there.
that this thing's a throttle right here, you know?
Oh, the throttle. Yeah. I
This
used it this
iPhone's
week for a throttle.
Magically a throttle too, you know?
It's that thing. Well, look what we did with it tonight. Tonight we hooked up the cell phone to this TV so that we could talk to you tonight. And this is all new to me. But, 10 minutes of a YouTube video, and I ran out and got the equipment, and now we've got you here without you having to drive 3 hours.
Well, what's really going to be cool is coming up this January.
I'm going to be on the road a lot. I'm going to be going to a lot of different cities, including Monroeville, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, going to Springfield, Massachusetts for the Amherst show. And I want to keep in touch with the podcast. I want to show what's going on. What's the
cool thing that's happening?
Great.
What's the latest
trends of
news?
the show,
Our roving
and be
reporter.
there and pull people into it. So that's what this setup
the
is.
first step to doing a live broadcast. We'll get there, but we needed to have a mechanism to take everybody to the show, and just
That'll be great.
Here's the
Ken
things
paved
that
the way
are
on that
important.
deal.
So,
Yeah.
All right, so we got breaking news in this podcast, and that is announced just this week. Friday was the TCS Wi-Fi Throttle, and on their website, on their Facebook page, there is a 7-second video showing a glimpse of what the throttle looks like. There probably are further announcements coming on the product, but at this point, they said watch out for future news on this new Wi-Fi throttle from TCS.
yeah, it's looking cool. Looking forward to it.
Something I probably got to test out, right?
Absolutely. In the January show, I'm just finishing editing that up, and I need to get that shipped out of here by Tuesday. And Daniel shows us how to put a form of an electronic capacitor in my goose so that it wouldn't stop on the turnouts on the narrow gauge, because a goose only weighs a couple of ounces. So there's not much conductivity there to begin with. And as soon as you go across a bad frog on a turnout, it would just stop.
Too bad it doesn't have that
You gotta
deal like
hitch
the
it and
turbine
giddy up
has,
on
where it
that
just
goose.
keeps juicing it.
I wanted to get some Hot Wheel track and put it on the table here, because when that goose runs now, it'll run across this whole table all by itself.
And real
Yeah.
quick, we did do a
So that's
segment,
what they did.
you and I, together, on how to basically install the decoder.
Yeah, it's a good segment. I
And-
appreciate the help on that. We love you, Daniel. Everything that you've contributed to our show.
Oh,
And the
hey.
readers out there, too, have
No
really
doubt.
commented a lot about it.
Yeah.
Joe Fugate, I don't know if I already said this or not, but the TOMA, the one module approach, did I bring that up yet tonight?
No.
Good.
No, you haven't.
See, this is my scatterbrain. Joe Fugate, I always call him about 30 minutes before we do this broadcast so that I can get some updated information from him. And he said that they've changed the cover story for the January MRH magazine to something new that they're going to talk about, and this is his TOMA project. TOMA stands for the one module approach, which the theory being is build one module and complete that section and then add on to it as you work your way around the room or your space that you have available, which is similar, I guess, to how I've built my layout down here. But that's something that Joe said he wanted me to mention in this podcast tonight.
No, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Sounds a lot less,
Overwhelming. Overwhelming, exactly.
You
than
know,
starting a
well,
whole
I gotta do
layout.
a box set, or,
if you just
gotta
got a
do
little
corners.
section, you can detail it to the max.
That's
before
the
you
neat
start
thing
the
about
next one.
Fremo.
Right.
Well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And other clubs too. I mean,
Yeah.
Fremo's not the only thing out there, but he's got some good plans here coming up with that, and I think it's something everybody that's really into it will agree with.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some great changes
Right.
coming.
Let's shoot for readers' questions now. Did anybody look at the clock? What time did we start? Do we know?
Negative.
Okay. I have a guesstimate, sort of, but okay.
Well, starting off with the readers' questions. Dun, dun, dun.
All right, let's
Dun,
start.
dun,
This is what we all
Dun,
want to hear.
dun, dun.
Yeah.
All right, John Stoddard.
John
starts
Stoddard.
off. Hey, guys, great
Great show. Every one of them has great info and helps me develop what I'm going to do with my layout. My question is for Chris. How does one get into the industry as far as working for these companies? I love model trains and would love to do something I love for work. I'm coming up on my end of active duty service. Thank you for your service very, very much.
Much.
Yeah,
And come home safe.
First off, yes.
Yeah.
My God.
And
Hey,
need to start looking for the future. Once again, thank you for keeping us up to date on new technology and techniques and ideas. Well, John, for me personally, I kind of my
My
formal
formal education is graphic design, and I kind of graduated into the career. In fact, I didn't really pursue it firsthand. It kind of I got a call on the phone one day, just like, "Hey, would you come down to Microscale? We're interested in your skills." And well, I did pass off a resume to them.
And what they were really looking for was someone that had graphic design knowledge, specifically to Adobe Illustrator and being able to generate vector graphics for pretty much just artwork for decals and, freight cars and rolling stock and different locomotives. And I've been doing that for 15 years
so, prior to my my rollover at Athern, I already had, about 13 years of experience with microscale before I graduated that. And the way I got into Athern actually was I had a call from a good friend, Joe D'Elia, over at ProtoPower West A-Line, and he mentioned that,
the word out on the street is Athern is looking for someone over there. And I said, what the heck?
Let's see what happens. And, looking back, that was the best decision that I made. Be sure to get your resume into these companies. Don't stop with one. Be sure to get them into just about every manufacturer that you can think of. Be prepared to use your knowledge of trains.
Yeah, a degree is almost
and also
a
don't forget to you're going to be spreading yourself out. You're going to be looking at all railroads, not just a specific one. So.
Right. No,
but education would be key. First off,
they like education,
finding out what your niche is.
But we know so many people in this industry that don't have formal education. I want to say, including myself. But those are the guys that learn on the street how to make a living. Yeah. There are such a thing as salesmen. There's such a diversity in this industry. You look at Wathers, you look at Kalmbach. I mean, you've got to have a journalism degree just to get in the door at Kalmbach. So that's a no-go for me. But if you have the quality of the desire, if you've got a talent, be what it is. I mean, look at the cross-section of Wathers. You have salesmen, you have computer experts, you have graphic design people, the Photoshop people. There are so many different categories of a way to get into this industry. I actually did a segment on this in the Indianapolis train show, but I never ran it on What's Neat because my words didn't exactly come out right at the time when I was walking through the trade show and talking about the diversity of talent that was in that room, the different backgrounds. If you want to be in this industry, the best thing to do is just get into the industry. I mean, one form or another, get to know the people, go to trade shows, introduce yourself. It's more of who do you know, familiarity, and then there's an invitation once they realize what your talents are. This is the toy business. There is money in the toy business to be made. It's a good business. We seem to be dropping out on the picture here, Chris. But I don't know why.
That's okay. I got my camera going right here.
Okay.
Just want to also mention, to kind of follow up with what you said there, Ken, there is a real need for people that know and be able to discern detail
on just any sort of particular project, whether it be, an F unit or an SD70 ACE and everything in between. We need to have people that can identify these subtle details and be able to put it into a written form of what makes that locomotive unique compared to the other ones that came out in a similar production. So
research is a big one, and just being open to all railroads in general.
Okay. You want to launch into another question?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, going on to Luke Talon, actually a comment this time. He says, thanks for the fantastic shout out, Ken, and thanks for all the kind words from the panel. Really appreciate it. I just want to stop right there, Luke. I mean, we say that in the most honest way. I mean, we're really appreciative that you came up and contacted us. And I really look forward to working with you in any sort of capacity that we can through this podcast, or maybe coming up with some more how-tos and stuff.
I know. It's a shame there's a big ocean between us, because we'd like to hang out with you, Luke. We want to sit here and run a train with you here on the layout like we're going to do here in a few more minutes. Yeah.
Well, you know what? What we're doing right here with me being in Central Illinois and podcast, or join the podcast through FaceTime, we can do that with Luke Talon too. And I hope that this is an invitation to him where maybe we can kind of like bridge those big oceans electronically and kind of like
get another screen
without him having to go through a tremendous flight.
I'll bring a screen over. Then we'll have him on there too.
All right.
And Bob Rivard and Dennis Brandt up in Minneapolis.
I don't know who's going to pay.
By the way,
who's going to pay for the guy's plane ticket?
A sea of cars again.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Oh, I'm up
Yeah.
between what the other Sioux Line stuff here and all the.
Well, if there's any overflow,
Well, there'll
send
be
them
none of
our
that.
way.
There'll be no overflow.
I'm going to go launch into the next question, Chris. Doggone Dog was talking about fascia and the various colors and how did we come up with the color of stained wood on the layout that we've got here. I can tell you for fascia color on a layout, we've seen a lot of folks use green. I've seen people use black, and I especially like black on the side of a layout because it's just like a picture frame for the beautiful green scenery with the black sides. And of course, I do mine in stain so that it'll match my furniture. And once I elected to do one color stain, I had to stick with it for the whole project so the whole room would match.
But it does work.
So yeah,
It does work.
stripes. Yeah.
You know,
I think this is also a good point. This all kind of goes into color theory, because you got to talk to someone, take a picture of your layout, take it over to someone that does matting and framing, and say, what colors would you use for the mat around this picture? And they'll start pulling out, they know all the color theory to this stuff, so they'll start pulling out ideas and start pointing out colors that would be complement the colors on your layout. If you have like a desert scene, they'll pull out colors for that. A forest scene, they'll pull out colors for that.
just
How about that?
I mean, just listen to what they say and look at the different swatches they suggest, and maybe say, okay, is there a way where I could take a photo of this and take it over to Home Depot and maybe see if you can get a custom color, or point out, a color chip that they have. They have those racks of different swatches and stuff, and just look for the paint that way. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. You want to go down to John Black on this next question here, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. John Black asks, I would love to see Mike do some more short segments
On automobile modeling. Maybe he can show us his techniques for doing windshields. I think you do the tape windshields, Mike.
Cellophane tape I've
And also-
used. Yeah.
I thought it was Scotch tape.
Well, whatever.
And Scotch.
Yeah, Scotch tape.
Both.
Yeah.
It depends on what you have to do with it and stress, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, and also using bare metal foil for chrome trim pieces. So,
Okay.
Dave, this is a perfect segment. Let's see what you got. You brought some cool stuff over tonight.
Well,
Okay, well, unfortunately it slides, but all my maintenance away stuff was done with Scotch tape.
yeah.
yeah,
right.
Dave, you've been
Yep.
really heavy into doing some vehicle modeling too.
Yeah.
Well, and the Scotch tape is the only thing that's working. You just have to make sure that cab is sealed.
Yeah.
The dust will get in
Cling
there.
to the end. Yeah.
That'll happen.
But, yeah.
But
it lasts for a
even
long
with the
time.
maintenance away stuff, and the guy told me at the show, he goes, "Oh, well, it's going to yellow." I'm going, "Well, perfect,"
Yeah.
because that's what that stuff does.
Right.
The older that machine is,
Yeah.
the worse that stuff. The windows are.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Mike, you got some cars
but
here
the
to talk
problem
about.
is, it doesn't yellow.
Well,
I've got
Yeah,
stuff that's now 20 years old hasn't yellowed
Yeah,
yet.
it takes a while. I've got some that I did on my Matchbox cars in the 1960s.
Well, these aren't sitting in the weather or
Yeah.
the sun.
That's
They're
yellow,
never going to hit the
still,
sunlight,
right.
so that probably will
Yeah.
help.
But River Point Station has come out with some new vehicles. These trucks are really nice. The Ford bucket trucks with the operating bucket and everything. And of course, I had to make my version. I turned one into a Southwestern Bell truck with the.
That is beautiful.
You know,
It really
all
That
the
is
stuff.
such beautiful. Look at the wires, the cables inside,
The
the
four-wheel
decals
drive.
of the bucket.
It's got front-wheel drive.
You'd have to
too.
work for the phone company to know what details to put in there.
Hey, you did.
Absolutely.
They
Yeah.
brought me a telephone pole today and put it on my driveway up there, the whole pole, and I wanted to take pictures of the lady's truck. It looked just like the one truck that we got up
Yeah.
here around here somewhere. What else you got going on here? You got some new manufacturer cars here?
Yeah, Oxford,
Oxford?
has kind of upped their game lately. They've got 4 new models that I got today.
See that, Chris?
A 50 Oldsmobile, a 59 Pontiac
And this is-
Bonneville.
Yeah, that's looking good.
That's a 1950.
Oh,
God, these are beautiful cars.
Oh, my
man.
God.
How much were these cars? Are they expensive?
They're $7.99, which
That's
is
not bad.
Too bad.
Where did you get these from?
Got
okay.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain from the Hobby
St.
Shop.
Charles, Missouri.
Oh, right.
How about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
these are actually nice.
The
But
only
they are.
shop between Chicago
Are these
and
plastic
Kansas
or are they
City.
die cast?
Yeah.
Well, there's Castle. But
they're
there's
each-
I know we
like-
can't
This
really
is-
show them to the
This is all
folks on the
plastic,
camera.
but they're
That's exciting.
they're mostly die cast, but they have plastic.
Oh, look at
parts.
this. We tried to put the cherries Pacers and
cherries, yeah.
Gremlins
Okay.
inside of the new Athearn tri-level auto rack to see if they would fit. And they do fit, but I got to say, I almost think the Cherry cars look a little overbuilt or a little too big. Are they
The tires
scale?
are a little big.
Yeah,
That's
they're-
what it is. The
That's what it
tires
is?
are out of scale. They
Okay.
should sit lower to the ground. The cars should.
They ratchet
Oh,
those
with the
cars
rims?
down when they
Right.
attach them.
They
Right.
do. They ratchet the cars.
So
way
how
down,
heavy is
so-
this car now?
It's.
I think
I
it's
need
like
to weigh
14
it.
Feels
ounces.
Just they're
Is
gonna
it
fall
14
off.
is it
A
14
pound and a
ounces?
half or something like that.
No, pound is 16 ounces.
Oh,
so
pound.
But it's a neat car. It's a testament. It holds
Well, you
up
know
to the,
what? I'll tell you what. If you use the Athearn Genesis truck, you won't have the problem
yeah, right.
because it'll glide anywhere.
Yes.
It's that Durlin that they used. It's,
Speaking of trucks, the Exact Rail trucks are available once again, and I talked to Chris Brimley over at Exact Rail, and I ordered 12 pair of their lowboy trucks, 70-ton lowboy trucks, to go under my stack pack.
so there's a rotating
frames.
bearing cap on the side?
Yes,
or-
and
Really?
it's they just like these Athearn trucks, they just roll as
Mike's
smooth as
train house
glass.
did that one flat car years ago, 17 years ago, something. And
Oh,
that
yeah?
had nice ones that they were
Right.
sprung, but they weren't self-equalizing.
I have to scratch
But
build
what a
all my
great looking
flats,
truck,
'cause
and then they disappeared.
there's no low level flats available in HO scale. One of you manufacturers, come on, step up and do a low level flat.
You're talking to one
81
right now.
foot.
I know. Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
we're coming up here on just about a half an hour. Do you think we should roll this one to a close?
Actually, hold on.
Well,
How
actually,
about
I
another
got
question
one more,
from
I got
the
one
audience?
more question.
One more
I got
question.
one
Yeah.
more question.
All right, this just means I'm going to edit longer, but go ahead, guys,
All right,
and then we'll
that's
roll
fine.
this one to a close. Because I am looking at the clock
All right,
somewhere
this
on there.
is-
I saw where we kind of started.
I want to hear what they got to say.
I know,
All
but
right. Well,
All right, let's hear
well
it.
let
Come
me
on.
get through this, and then we can chat more. So,
Right.
trying to speed this up a little bit.
All right.
We got from Illinois Railway videos. Hi Ken, your videos have inspired us to make our own layout, and we are using your tutorials from What's Neat on Model Railroad Hobbyists. We want to make mountains, but we can't figure out the best way to make them. What do you recommend for making mountains? We also want to make a river scene, and we have seen several tutorials. What is your recommended way of making rivers? Actually, I can answer the second one.
Ken?
it depends on how big of a mountain that you're making. I mean, if you're making a large mountain, 8 foot high, floor to ceiling, I would reinforce it with woodwork. And I would probably go the old-fashioned method of
Right.
probably plaster and screen, or the lighter weight products that they've got where you're mixing paper towels and glue, or that whatever that material is. It's paper mache type stuff. If you're making small mountains, stick to foam. Just carve them out in foam. And the latest thing that we tried to do in one of the What's Neat videos, I don't remember which one, is we made a mountain where we took screen wire and covered it up with the Foam Pro right out of the can. And it took an entire can to do this, I think. Actually, it took about a half a can to do this. But we made a great big Lionel tunnel. And that thing was about 2 feet in diameter, 3 feet in diameter, and a foot and a half high.
With one can?
One can. Yeah, that was a
There's
half
big
a can.
curly Q on top
So was
of
a
it.
lot of it going through the screen?
No,
Or
it
really?
attached to the screen.
Really?
It stiffened up. It dried perfect, and it made a clamshell, which I left outside for over a year, and it still held up before I threw it
Oh,
away.
that's what
Oh,
that
you need
was.
to pop in a little clip on that because that's interesting.
Chris
come
made me
on.
make a clip for it.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
already just saw it because I just showed it to
I got
you.
to roll it right now.
I know this
These,
is. I love these
It's
shows, but the
December
longer you make
2016.
it, the more I'm editing it all
I
week
know.
long. I got to
That's
get
okay.
January done this week. I got to get this
So
done,
did
and
we
then
answer
we're
this guy's
traveling this
question
week.
or what?
Yeah.
Go on to the river part of the question, but I'd say the
The
mountain
river
part.
question, actually, Luke Talon has a really great how-to with making a river. So
Yes,
I'd
he does.
check out his channel.
I watched
and just
that.
go
That's
through
good.
his videos.
Luke Towan, he made a
Luke
really
was
great
Towan.
video. Yeah,
Yeah.
great river
Towan.
video. Nice job, Luke.
All right.
All right, Chris, keep going, or you want to stop, baby?
Well, you're up.
All right.
Hold on. I'm going to say what's going on with this right here real quick.
Last minute, we're building an N-scale layout. It's going to connect together with magnets. The concept is going together right now as we speak. This is for the February show. I'm working on this project. And this is podcast number 19, December 9th, 2017. We're going for over 30 minutes today, so I hope you've enjoyed the show. I got Daniel Coombs, Dave Davis, Mike Budde next to me, and Chris Palomarez on the TV set right here, which is pretty dang cool. I like it. It's a neat thing, Chris. And of course, I'm Ken Patterson.
Welcome to new technology.
And thumbs up, thumbs down, leave your comments. We certainly want to answer them. And if there's a manufacturer out there that'd like to see their product featured on this show or the What's Neat show, don't wait for me to call you because I can't call everybody. I work the phones and I might get a hold of maybe 2 or 3 people a week. contact me. You can find my contact information through my website at kenpatterson.com. And other than that, guys, I think that ends another successful podcast. I hope the sound comes through on your part.
And let's extend the viewer feedback. I mean, that's huge, right?
We
here.
love it. We love the viewers' feedback.
I just learned something on your little viewer feedback. You know what?
Yep.
With the doing
Right.
that? Huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you
All
for
right, thanks.
watching.
Yeah.
All right.
See you next time.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
So long.
All right. See you now.
Thank you.